everyone. Welcome to Living and Learning. I'm Allison Kinnear. Today we're talking about being in the eye of the storm. I don't know about you, but things are just the spin cycle is happening. It's happening in our society, it's happening in our world. This pandemic, as you know, we haven't even hit a 1 year anniversary, at least not in the States, with this virus, and all that's happening. It's like there's what we can do in the time, and then there's also how the time is impacting all of us. So I wanted to just share a quick little story about being in the eye of the hurricane or the tornado. When I was working at Google, I had two little ones that were very little, like infant, 2 year old. And I remember I had this cartoon next to my desk that was of a cow in a tornado, because that's how I felt so much going in and just being in my life, being up all night with the baby and then going into work and everything. I just felt like I wanted to be a cow, just chewing my grass, taking it easy, being in the sun. And every day felt like a tornado would sweep me up and I would be set down at night only to sleep and have it all start again. And I was so caught up in it, and it was like I was resentful of the storm, but I was also addicted to it as well. It was like I was addicted to the spin. I was addicted to the chaos that would happen, because there was some part of my brain that hated it, but also that felt a lot of excitement by being in that storm. And this is the trick. This is what happens with our minds. Our minds love to look at things in lots of different ways and to kind of spin around almost like a Rubik's Cube and turn things this way and turn things that way. And it can be unpleasant when it's dominating our lives, but it's also kind of addicting. You kind of want to keep playing the game. And I remember just feeling so worn out from trying to figure it all out all the time, just trying to figure things out. And it was getting nowhere fast. And so I was, at this time, I was also working on my master's thesis, and I was studying mindfulness and the importance of mindfulness. And in, in my studies, I remember coming to this point where I was learning, how do you break the spin? How do you get in the center of the storm and not get caught up in the swirl all around? And I was getting excited because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the thing. And then it was simply to get in tune with your body and your breath. And my mind had this immediate reaction of like, oh, hell no. It was just like, no, I don't want to get in tune with my body. I don't want to get in tune with my breath. Give me something to figure out. It's like my mind was addicted to trying to figure things out, addicted to the stress of it all. And it did not want to get in line with the part of us that cannot get caught in the spin. Our body and our breath is where we get centered. It's always available to us. It's always free. It's always accessible. To, like, in this moment, feeling your feet on the floor. This is for the clients, the people who work with me. I'll often say feet on the floor. Feel your feet on the floor. How often do we do that? There's a common meditation called a body scan, where you kind of scan through all the parts of your body and relax them one by one. And one of the people who does this, John Kabat-Zinn, who's like a mastermind of mindfulness, he always starts with the toes. And somebody asked him, why do you always start your body scan with the toes? And he said, because it's the furthest thing from your mind, the furthest part of your body geographically from your head, because your head can get caught in the spin. That's why the head is always last, and you start with the feet and work your way up to the mind, because then when the rest of your body is centered, calm, grounded, relaxed, then the mind will succumb and will fall in line. But if you start with the head, it's easy to get thrown right off, to get caught in that hurricane. And the fact remains, there is a lot happening, let alone just the lifey stuff. There are things happening globally, things happening within this country that is causing a lot of confusion, a lot of crises, a lot of strain, a lot of stress. And what I've been trying to do lately is, and I don't know if any of you have watched The Social Dilemma. If you have not, it is a documentary on Netflix. I highly encourage you watch it. But in The Social Dilemma, part of what they talk about is how social media encourages the spin, and we can get kind of split off, almost like two tornadoes getting split off, going in their own spinny circles. And it's really easy to get caught up in that, especially as the election nears, especially as the pandemic wears on, especially as life just continues to be life. And what I keep reminding myself to do is when I get caught in the spin, when I feel like that cow in the tornado, is I pause, I either get off social media or I find a way to bring myself back to me, bring myself back to my center, to my values. And I have to remind myself of the people I love, the people I care about. I have to remind myself of my values and what's important to me. I have to remind myself to get back in tune with my breath and my body. And when I do that, then suddenly I'm no longer spinning on the outside of that hurricane, of that tornado, but I'm more in the center of it, watching it go by. And this is the power. This is, the mind will spin, but the body remains. My feet are on the floor. They've been on the floor this whole time, right? Like my body's not going anywhere until I choose to move it. And when we can get back in our body, back in our breath, then we can ground our mind and get us back to our center. So I encourage you, the storm, this intensity of the storm, especially as the holidays come and winter comes, and we don't know, we haven't been through winter with a pandemic before. Like, we can choose to let that anxiety of that unknown get to us, or we can bring ourselves back to the present moment. That's the beauty of our breath and our body. It can't go to the future. It can't stay in the past. Our breath and our body always is in this present moment. It can't go anywhere else. And so when my mind starts spinning about what that's all going to mean, what that is all going to bring, when I bring myself back to my body and my breath, suddenly it's like, okay, wait, I'm here now. Is there anything I can do right now that can help myself in the future? Maybe, maybe not. Okay, is this spin helping me? No. Great, I'm going to sit here and be back in the unknown. There's such beauty when we can sit and be with ourselves in the midst of the unknown. There's such power in that. And so I encourage you to get back to that center, get back to your body, identify more with the cow and less with the tornado. Oh, and practice that. Practice. You don't have to get it right. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be always in that state of bliss, right? Like the key is just catching ourselves when we're in the spin and bringing ourselves back. The important part is the catch, that we catch ourselves. It doesn't matter how long we stay in the center. Yeah, life gets better when you stay in the center more. But, the key is catching yourself. Oh, Shara, yes, powerful documentary, The Social Dilemma. If you have not seen it, see it. You got to watch it. Oh, I feel a sneeze coming on. So I think that's time to close. I wish you a wonderful week of living and learning, and I will see you next week. Bye. And there's the